Hello, Dental Team listeners. This is Kiera, and today, oh man, it's been way too long. I have the one and only Dana from our team. If you've known her, if you're here as like an OG, you know Dana from Donuts with Dana. Gosh, Dana, that's like way back in the archives. But if you're newer, you may have heard her as Dani. I don't know if she loves that one. And then Dana, what was the one that I heard? I think it was like Dynamite Dana was the last one that I heard come through for you. So those have kind of been your like morphing over time. But which one do you prefer, Dana? And welcome to the show.
I think the OG of Donuts with Dana is probably the one that like will continue to stick. Anyway.
It's true. A lot of people, like even at events and they see you, they're like, oh my gosh, it's Donuts with Dana, which is so fun and so cute. But super happy to have you. Welcome to the show today. So grateful. You actually brought up a really interesting topic that I thought would be fun for us to dive into from a lot of your clients that you've been talking to of like, what are maybe some passive income ideas for dentists beyond the chair? Now, let's just clarify. This does not mean that you have to actually like give up dentistry, that you're not working, but I think we have a lot of entrepreneurial minded dentists that are just starting to like get creative, want some ideas. So today, Dana and I are here to like pique your interest, just have you start thinking in different ideas. But Dana, give some more background. I know this came from a lot of your clients. What are some of the things you've been seeing and hearing?
Yeah, I do think that you're right. I think that if you are a business owner, right, if you're a practice owner, that just naturally comes to you. And I think that people that own businesses and people that have gone and graduated dental school and become leaders are just always looking for opportunity too. I think it's just a mindset thing in that group of people. So it's come up just on calls, like what can I do? What are some things that I can do outside of the chair? And some interesting things that some of even my clients do that I thought would be really fun to share, to help brainstorm and give some ideas.
I love it. I love a good brainstorm session like this, Dana. So this is going to be a little different podcast style for all of you coming on. Today it's more of a riff. It's more of a like, oh gosh, I think these are like a good think tank. My husband and I, we go hot tubbing and we call it our like tub talk. So it's not TED Talk, it's tub talk because that's where a lot of our best ideas come. So today is gosh, it's Donuts with Dana and Kiera. It's like dabbling in dentistry, like, but I want it to be better than like dabbling outside of dentistry. Maybe that's what it will have this brainstorm session as. Because I agree with you, Dana. And I also think sharing some ideas that some of our clients do. Obviously, we mash and mix, so you can't really figure out who we're talking about. Because I like to keep that private and confidential for them. But I think like, again, let's spur some ideas. So Dana, I've got some ideas. I know you have some, but let's take it on of what are some of the things that dentists can do for this passive income. But wait, before we go there, I also feel like it's important to say why. Dana, you mentioned about like a lot of these offices, these dentists want something beyond just dentistry. I also think for me, it becomes an insurance policy. Like dentists, if these little hands right here, if they break, well, that's your livelihood. So I do think for some dentists, having passive revenue, passive income coming through generating different ideas means you're not as dependent upon your hands, but more able to do that out of like desire rather than necessity. So I think it's a good morphing and it doesn't have as much stress and pressure from what I've seen from doctors that do it. But again, those are maybe just a few ideas within our dabbling in outside of dentistry talk today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's an exciting one. And I will usually always preface the conversation with like, make sure you have a good financial advisor too, because some of the things is make sure that the money you're currently making can also potentially make you money. So just really connecting with a strong financial advisor so that you can maximize the money that's coming into you from your practice, whether it's in investments, whether it's in bonds, anything like that. Connect with a strong financial advisor and they can help walk you through any of these ideas we roll out today in our talk that just helps them make better decisions.
Couldn't agree with you more because also it's fun when you start to make these extra passive income ones. Don't forget, depending upon how it's set up, what it's structured, what it is, well, this could also incur a higher tax bill for you. I'm never opposed to you made more money. Oh no, I've got more tax. But if you don't plan and prepare for it, then instantly that can become a cash flow crunch for you end of year. So agreed. And with all things, we are not financial advisors. We are not here to give you legal counsel. We're not here to give you financial counsel. We're just here to riff with you. And then you need to make sure that you take this on and get the appropriate advice for your specific needs, because truth be told, it varies from client to client, state to state, location to location, and scenario to scenario. So what I do and what works for me, what Dana does, they're not the same. But again, today's a fun riff. So Dana, let's kick it off with, what are
Yeah.
some of these ideas that are brewing that you've heard?
Yeah, I mean, I think real estate is definitely something that a lot of dentists look at as like a more of a passive. I think it depends on how passive you want it to be versus how active you want it to be as far as a supplementary income. So I think real estate is one. I think silent business partner in a business that is of interest. I mean, we have a mutual client who I think is in real estate and maybe even a farm. Um,
It's true. It's true.
so there's those things, and I've got another office where she is a spokesperson for a pretty big oral health company. So she does podcasts for them, she writes articles for them, she speaks at some of the conventions that they are at. I have heard of a dentist who like created webinar series on a procedure that he felt like he was really strong in. And so I just feel like sometimes it just takes thinking outside the box, thinking about where your passions are, thinking about what you might enjoy spending your time if it's more of an active pursuit. So I think that there's endless ideas, really.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. And I think, like, let's dig a little into real estate. Let's talk about this a little more. I am no real estate professional on this. There's different pieces, but we'll dabble a little bit, venture out into that just so you can hear a few things, because I am very passionate about real estate and I'm very intrigued by how to. It started because I met some people at Tony Robbins, like, surprise, surprise. I started chatting with them and I started meeting a doctor community. Surprise, surprise, because I wanted my husband to look for ways to not have to be always working at the hospital. I think hospitals are a little more grueling than dentistry, not as forgiving. And literally, there was no way for my husband to get out of it. And I thought, well, shoot, we don't have kids. I want to travel. Like, but you're my travel buddy and you're always at work. So I started meeting these people and we started talking. And something I really was impressed by was they actually started talking about how, like, as doctors and dentists, we have it a little bit different. You don't have as capped of an income as, say, a lot of medical professionals do. My husband, there was no way for him to make more money. Unlike in dentistry, you produce more, you're able to create more. And so what they do is there's actually a thing called rep status, where you can actually, there's a couple different ways to do it. And again, I'm no guru on this. It's just giving you a couple of ideas to look at. But if you get rep status, so a lot of times people will have their spouse become the rep status. So for example, in my situation, let's say I didn't work at dental aid team. Let's say I had a lesser job right now. I would not be the right candidate for this relationship. But Jason, he's working at the hospital. I'm a spouse. I'm staying at home with the kids, or I'm working maybe only part-time. I have more hours. What we can actually do is I can take on rep status, so real estate professional status. And what I can actually do is I can offset with deductions within our real estate portfolio all of Jason's tax within his W-2. So it's a really good way for you to actually make more on a W-2 by offsetting. Now, there's a secondary loophole on there for short-term real estate where you can be full-time working, but you can actually get short-term real estate in there and you can actually offset again through rep status. Now, rep status there's like a lot of rules. So go read up on it. Go talk to your financial advisor, go talk to your CPAs about how you get this rep status and see if it qualifies for you, because like this is something my husband and I have looked into exponentially to figure out, hey, how could we offset this? Because if I can keep the taxes that I'm paying from our W-2, is there possibly a way that we could reinvest it? So now maybe you want to do it, maybe you don't. There's also ways if you don't want to be that involved and take that on, or you don't have a spouse or a partner that can help you with it, then other ways that you can do it are actually through syndications or being like Dana was mentioning, of being a lesser buyer into it, where basically you just put money in. Those ones, they're a dime a dozen. There's a ton of them. And so usually the best deals are found through networking. So if you're interested, odds are your financial advisor probably knows someone. I know there's quite a few dental groups. I will put some asterisks around that some of the dental groups that I heard, I will not mention names. There are some dental groups that were doing investments that actually a lot of dentists lost a lot of money on. So just make sure with any investment, guess what? It's a risk. We're like high-fiving. The best advice I was ever given on investments was Same thing with like loaning money to people. Once that money is gone, I kiss it goodbye. Yes, I hope it comes back, but I have to be okay losing that money and it never coming back to me. So I think that there's other ways, but also let's not forget like investments, like putting money and maximize. Like for me, I utilize taxes and savings on the company. Those go into high yield savings accounts. I am still having true passive income off of those investments. They're not invested, they're just sitting there. I have to keep the money anyway. Why not have that come back to me in some returns that way too? But I think those are some fun ways to look into real estate in some different zones, which again, I didn't even realize, and my brother didn't realize, and several people I've talked to about this real estate professional status that you can achieve that will truly offset those W-2 taxes. So looking into that might be a fun way for you to see it. I am one who I know I'm not going to be getting the phone call in the middle of the night. I'm not going to be going doing the plumbing. Jason, he built custom homes. He still doesn't want to do it. We might do short-term rentals. And I was like, well, what are you going to do with the freaking snow, Jay? He was like, don't worry, Kiera. It will be an upfront cost, but we're putting heated driveways in. I'm never going to have to shovel them ever. No liability on us. So just looking, and I know there's some really fun things, again, depending upon your area, but you can actually pick up some short-term rentals. Again, you've got to look at the areas. You've got to look at the zoning. But there's a lot of small houses that are like kit houses that are 20 grand, 30 grand, 40 grand. They literally come as a kit. You just need to slab it and make sure that there's sewer and water to it. But those you can then rent out as like really cool Airbnbs too. Now, Airbnb is hot topic right now. I don't know how much people are following it, but there are a lot of places that have been zoned for Airbnbs. Like we're even talking Dallas. I'm familiar with this because I live by Lake Tahoe. Lake Tahoe, a lot of those places were zoned for short-term rentals. And then after being purchased, so people have had these for years, they're actually being rezoned into residential, which I think is totally shady. There's opinions on both sides of this, of like, yes, but we need housing. And I'm like, yes, but they bought it. But again, it is another investment, so it's not an always guarantee. But Dana, I just went on a real estate rant. Any thoughts that you've got on that? Because I agree. I think real estate is usually where a lot of people do venture in. I mean, there's storage units, there's short-term rentals. Well, excuse me. There's like farms, there's other things. You can get into a lot of these pieces, but again, be careful, do your homework, and realize that money, once it's gone, it's gone. Like hopefully it comes back to you, but maybe a few ideas in that realm too. Dana, thoughts? Because I really went on a rant on rep status.
No, I love it. I think I learned something too during this podcast, which is awesome. And I agree with you. I think it just comes down to doing your research, knowing how much time you want to invest in something, knowing how much work you want to invest in something, and also too, how much money do you want wrapped up in things like that. And so I love that walkthrough of it.
And Dana, as you said that, I also was thinking about Ryan Isaac with Dennis Advisors. He's my financial advisor, and he reminds me that like really the biggest way to make wealth are independent businesses, real estate, and then like private equity and venture things where like you're going into venture capitalism. And so I also want to highlight, while yes, we're talking about these getting outside of the chair, never forget that your business is your greatest asset in a lot of ways too. Now, for me as a business owner, I sometimes love all my eggs in my own basket. Other times I absolutely hate that my eggs are all in my own basket. So, but never forget that sometimes even investing, like hiring an associate in your practice or expanding what you're able to do in your practice or expending your hours or opening up more chairs, that's also a way where you can get, I mean, truly, I'm not trying to like sound unreal, like unreasonable. That's passive income. You have someone working for you. I get that you have to still own the business. You still have the liability on it. So it's not as passive as, say, a syndication, but you have somebody literally in your practice that's producing for you, that they may be taking 30, 35%. Yes, you still have the additional overhead of your team, but that is passive in a lot of ways too. So I really want to highlight, like, don't forget the greatest asset is your business, but you might want to have an insurance policy around that where you have other revenue streams, not just dependent upon the practice. Dana, thoughts on that? Because I think people forget that their businesses are an asset as well.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you know what, too? I think that sometimes I've seen like even just getting creative with your space, right? There's offices that are doing dental assisting schools within their practices. I've got a couple offices where they've got myofunctional therapists coming in and they're renting space and they're, using operatories that they're not ready to build out yet. So even if you have space within your practice, what can you do with that can generate some passive income? And I love, like you said, like it is your number one investment and probably the easiest, simplest way for you to continue to grow and expand your portfolio is growing and expanding your practice.
hmm And Dana, as you said that, it reminded me, I have a friend who's a dermatologist up in New York. This woman was smart. There's a business that's doing it, and I wish that they were doing it a smidgy better. I've thought about doing it. But what they're actually doing is they're like renting out professional spaces to other professionals. So she's a dermatologist. She's only there 3 days a week, and she literally rents her space out to like an optometrist or something. Like it's literally like someone within the healthcare field. She's like, Kiera, I get paid to have my space by someone else coming and using it. So also maybe can you moonlight your practice? Who could come in? Like I love these said myofunctional. I've seen some offices where they have a spa within, like eyebrows, microblading, facials, like literally you don't even have to have that as a service within your practice. It's just like one little nook, one little space, or when you're not there after hours. Obviously check your liability insurance with your building space, but I have seen a lot of offices doing that as well. Like I think that that's so clever because I'm like, I already have this practice, I've already paid for it, and
Mm-hmm.
now I get to just have basically a renter within my space in a different zone. I love the dental assistant program. I feel like it's a win-win. You're giving to the community. You're also able to cherry pick your best dental assistants. Like so many cool things for you to be able to do within your space. And some offices even have built like really cool lecture spaces, and then they build a dental community and do study clubs within their area. Well, they get paid to host it at their location as well. You don't even have to be there. You can just have the space that somebody rents out from you. And hey, perk is you get all these benefits of listening to these great speakers come in. We've done that in like several areas. We've spoken at those groups. I think Dana, you're right. Like, what do you have? What can you do? Jason and I love, like, we literally love in our tub talks to sit there and think of ways to make money. I will tell you, door dashing is not my number one best idea. We did try it. I didn't realize like how hard it is to make money. Like it like humbled me a lot. But like there's so many little ways that you can actually do stuff outside. Like look at your home office. Could you rent out spaces? Like there's just so many crazy cool things that we're able to do. I think you can create a lot of income in a lot of ways if you're creative with it. I also love the dental assistant one because you can have a dental assistant make more money by running the program for you. So you're getting the benefits, the assistant's able to grow, and you're coming like wins all the way around. Again, depending upon your state, because there are laws around it. But gosh, like I get nerdy on this type of stuff because it's fun to think outside the box for sure. So Dana, talk to me about speaking gigs because I'm sure people are like, how do you get into that? How do these people get into this? Like writing webinars, becoming a keynote speaker, becoming an expert, writing blogs? Because I think a lot of people have passion for that, but how do you
Mm-hmm.
actually do that and get into that?
Yeah, and I think it comes down to the same thing that you said about real estate is networking, right? Going to conventions, starting by even writing things, right? And maybe speaking on a podcast, right? And then maybe writing a peer-reviewed journal article, and then just growing those things, networking, reaching out and letting people know, right? Companies that are a part of whatever you want to speak about, letting them know that you are experienced in that whatever it is topic, and that you are available to speak. I had one doctor that like just did a video presentation and sent it out to conventions and to people in that industry, and other office or other dentists that just started out small, started out with simple articles, started out just with networking, letting companies and areas know that they were available.
Gosh, brilliant. And Dana, as you said that, I do agree. Like, get on people's podcasts. I can tell you how many clients I've had like, hey, Kira, I have this great idea of like selling charts, or I have this great idea that I'm super passionate about how to make composite crowns. You guys, I don't do any of that. That's not stuff that I do. I am not a clinician. So we are a great podcast for you to get it. Then you say, I've been on this podcast. I've spoken at this place. I love like just being a little scrappy. There's several people that do things like this. I also think if you're really passionate about something, put it on your Instagram too. You can start to showcase your work. I know some people have become pretty popular on social media by doing cosmetic dentistry, by doing composite veneers in certain ways. So, like, I also think don't sell yourself short. There's probably some cool things that you do. And Dana, I'm just going to throw another idea because I forgot. I do have a client that does this. They are an expert witness. I want someone else to do it. Someone else go become an expert witness. Or if you are an expert witness, I want you to talk to me because I want to put you on the podcast. Like you can get on with me. But an expert witness is one, like I literally have a client and they tell me like, all right, Kara, I got to go meet with this person. And they make a truckload of money by being an expert witness as a dentist in like crimes. And I told my husband, I was like, go be an expert witness in pharmacy. And he's like, I'm not doing that. I don't want to get close. Like that creeps me out. But I'm just going to throw that's another random idea out there that I think, again, I'm hoping someone on the podcast is an expert witness. Please, I want to podcast with you. I want to hear your stories, your ventures. And for all of you listening, if you are someone who does real estate really, really well and you figured out the rep status, or and I want someone who's not like dabbled in it. I want you to be a freaking expert on this. Like you've done at least a couple of things in it, or you're a speaker at locations where you're getting paid for that as a side gig, or you have a dental assistant program within your practice. I want you to reach out, hello@thedentaleteam.com, because I'd love to get you on the podcast. I think sharing our knowledge, sharing with each other, I think it's freaking fun. And I think like, hey, let's all rise each other up. Because guess what? You're probably not going to be a forensic witness at the exact same space everyone else is. Like they need tons of those people. So anyway, Dana, this was a fun riff for me. Thanks for riffing with me. Any last thoughts you've got as we wrap up?
I think just get creative, right? Figure out if there's something that you're passionate about. Figure it out if you have space for something. Figure out what it is that you really want to spend maybe some extra time doing. And there's definitely ideas that fall around it.
I love it. Dana, thanks for bringing this brilliant idea. Thanks for doing dabbling outside of dentistry with me today, dabbling outside of dentistry with Dana today. Thank you for that. It was always a good time. And for all of you listening, this is what we love to do. We love to help dentists get the freedom to be able to have the creative space to think outside of just their day in, day out. So giving them the ability to build their practice, build their leadership teams, be able to create. So that way you're able to think outside and also to help offices think in these ways and get them connected to people that are resources. So if this is your world or you're like, hey, I'd love to have a little more mind space out there. I'd love to have less stress on my practice and more creative space, reach out. That's what we're experts at. We're happy to help you and your team. So reach out, hello@thedentaleteam.com. And as always, thanks for listening. Catch you next time on the Dental Team Podcast.